Okay, so I prepared 4 slides, not many. Of course, I could have created many more, but I wanted to be relatively quick inspection and to get back to the politics series. And only if there is like an outstanding demand, we might change direction and more like back to science stuff, because there are tons of things to, of course, I mean, we have incredibly important research, and but that we've kind of left during the last couple of weeks because it was important to speak about many aspects that many things that I've spoken about a lot in the past. Like, I mean, it's 4 years now. My journey is like 4 years now. Ministry of Sorrow, but and I mean, science was only the focus like it only last 7 months. But of course, before that, there was a lot of things. There was a lot of like interest, like in the paintings, in sculptures, and then, of course. Politics and history always, and religion always was, I mean, big part of this thing, and of course the symbolic language we should set. So anyway, but it's as I said in the previous agenda video, it's important to get like checkups from time to time to see that, I mean, the ecosystems that we created are not completely destroyed. So we have 4 slides. So if you are new to my videos, I mean, you should see, I mean, there are hundreds of microscopic videos and so many materials that was gathered, like, I mean, immense, like, mountains of evidence and like several new sciences that, I mean, I can humbly say that I made the first steps, like, in amazing, like, new sciences, alien zoology, alien robotics, physics, amazing stuff. And I can humbly say that, I mean, with my extremely limited, like, I mean, means and knowledge, I did whatever I can, like, I mean, to seek knowledge and like to do it in the best the way I can, like, according to rigorous principles of acquiring information, or in other words, I don't like, I mean, this term, but the scientific method. Personally, I do not like this term, but never mind. I mean, you know what I mean. I should just say that we are using, to anyone that doesn't know, I am using this microscope, the Bresser 1, I think it's called. Yes, Bresser 1. So I bought it like 3 years ago. It's a standard backlight microscope, very simple, but actually it proved to be like okay, like it's done its job. I mean, we have 3 objective lenses, like a magnification of 4, 10, and 40 or 60, 40. I'm rarely using the largest magnification. We don't. Mostly we use the minimum magnification, which is 64, because it's 4 times the eye lens, which is 16 magnification. There is another like a way to magnify, like add magnification or control magnification using the tube lens, but it's very easy to actually take videos with the tube lens. The only way that I can take videos right now is using this the iPhone 13 or 14, whatever. When I was in my mother's apartment in the first stage of this house arrest, from December to up until April, I've also taken videos with Olympus Pen EPM2 camera with a pancake lens, 14mm, but now I don't have it in my possession, so I only use this one. I originally bought the microscope with like a digital camera that is inserted on it, which is much more convenient, but I don't have it with me. Like most of my stuff, it's like somewhere, like I'm in storage in Holon, I guess. So I mean, as I was starting to say, we mostly use the smallest magnification, which means 64. Because we don't really need much more than that. We are dealing with, I mean, mostly we deal with relatively big robots and life forms, and synthetic life forms, I mean, in the microscopic scale. We relatively deal with pretty big ones, and like, I mean, even like beyond the microscopic scale, even things that you can see with your own eyes, even though from time to time, it is actually beneficial to use more magnification, especially, I mean, the X10 objective lens, especially when we want to see the details in the body of like a creature. It's not very useful for Neros because they are probably metallic, and it's just, I mean, we need much better microscope in order to actually, I mean, it's one of the things that I would really like is to get like much better microscope, and for the especially for the research of the neurons, like the robots, like the robots that are, I mean, it's like a civilization of robots that lives in my body, and of course, like, I mean, they are like the main subject of this channel, and also they have starships, and they look a little bit like that, the starships, and they're doing like, I mean, exactly what you think that they're doing. They're actually doing it right now. They're radiating the Earth because of the way that you treat strangers. But this is not the subject of this video. And so, I mean, much better microscope and potentially electron microscope is required to get like good views of the neurons themselves. But I mean, the X10 helps to see details on the body of synthetic life forms that are, I mean, another subject of this channel. And I mean, the even larger one, the X40, I mean, it lets us like use up to like 1,000 and potentially 1,500 magnification using the tube lens. This is rarely used, but it was used. It was very, very important during January. Like, I mean, right on the start of this research project, in order to actually prove the interaction between the robots and very small microbes or potentially viruses. It was difficult for me to understand, but anyway, certainly, I mean, life forms, and for this, actually, we require the 1,000 magnification, but mostly it's not really needed, even though it's interesting. It's what, I mean, one of the main interesting things that you can see is that the neurons, they come in all sizes. Like, I mean, you can see it like I mean, even like, I mean, in maximum magnification or in the minimum magnification, and presumably, I mean, we have reason to believe that they can like be much smaller even than the minimum size, and much bigger, I mean, even like in spaceship, like the proportions. But even if we only, I mean, we only discussed the neurons, like the robots that we've seen like many times using this microscope. It should be said that, I mean, if you take the smallest and the biggest, like, and put one among one besides the other, it's like putting like it's like a Chihuahua dog next to Godzilla. So they come in the huge variety of sizes, and this was discussed immensely in the past. I cannot discuss it now in relation to their, I mean, how they multiply, how they clone. It's a lot of things that discussed. This is like very quick summary for people that don't know anything at all. Like, I mean. So another interesting thing that I should say, that this Bresser microscope, I mean, of course, it's backlight. It requires electricity for the LED, for this you see this one, for the backlight. Very small amount, like, I mean, very not high power, but it requires some time. And the interesting thing is that I've never known, and I mean, I've never seen any black battery compartment here, and I've never placed any battery in this microscope, like never. And I never knew that there is like a battery, like a place to put the battery actually, and I still don't see any such place. And as I said, certainly I've never placed any battery in it. And I mean, when I bought it like 3 years ago, and I mean, and also when I mean conducted research like during December and January, and like in February, of course, I mean, backlight didn't work unless the transformer, like a very simple like transformer, was connected to the socket, because there is no place to put the battery. But I mean, at some point, I think it was in February or March, I mean, it started to actually, the light started to work even without a connection to the socket, which is kind of very interesting and cool. It makes it like a magical microscope. I should say that if I like, I mean, if it's like stay like this, like if like I forget like all night, I mean, then in the morning, I mean it stops. Like, I mean, you don't get this the property anymore. But if you connect it to the charger, after sometimes it's like I mean, if you connect it to the socket, it acts like charger, and after sometimes it backs to like you see like that it works without the electrical transformers connected. And again, I should say that, I mean, initially it wasn't, I mean, so you might say, I mean, so maybe there's like it's like there is like a charging battery inside it. I mean, this is charged by the transformer, but initially it wasn't. First of all, it's not in the specification, but it was never. I mean, I'm using this. I mean, I bought it 3 years ago, and it was never like that. I mean, it was always like, I mean, when it was not connected, the light didn't work. I mean, there was no reason for me to believe that there is a battery inside it, but presumably at some point, a battery was created inside of the microscope. I know it sounds amazing, but it is amazing, and I don't have any way to explain it. Maybe you can. Of course, I mean, we should also always remember that this was used, I mean, during like from starting December and up until now, and I mean, but I mean, specifically during the months in December, January, February, March, it was used for the research of the neurons, and I always like put like in all the slides that I have, I always like place like very, like, I mean, hefty amount of liquid, and so much of the liquid was spilled on this, like on the tray, like on the table of the microscope, on the microscope itself. So, I mean, it's reasonable to assume that there were quite a bit of millions, like, I mean, of these robots that actually invaded the microscope during these months, and maybe they've done things like create a capacitor. Yes, it is amazing because we are dealing with alien science. Anyway, so let's, I mean, without many like speak, so I will do these inspections without normally what I do is in all these videos that I inspect the slides, and like you see, I mean, in general what I can see in those slides, and then I actually like recording the video. So I mean, I will be able to like hold like to do like an online commentary, like, I mean, like, so I mean, will not be completely surprised, and I will be able to actually, I mean, navigate, because I'm using, like, untypically I throughout all my videos also now I'm covering the whole slides. These are normal, like, standard microscopic slides, but I'm covering the whole slides with material, not just, I mean, like one dot, which is like typical, and I use like covers that are covering almost all the slides. In the past, I've also used sellotape many times, like, I mean, thin duct tape, and this is another issue. Why exactly, and why its advantages and disadvantages. All new. I mean, it's a completely. Everything is like is detailed, like, in these videos. I mean, there's like almost like 1,000 videos in this channel. So I mean, you just need to watch the videos if you want to know more. Do you want to know more? I like Starship Troopers, like, I mean, the 97, I think, adaptation. Do you like to know more? It's a good, Paul Verhoeven. He's a genius, really. Anyway, so in order to know where to navigate and like to have like, I mean, initial commentary in my head, I've many times, like, I'm using, like, I'm doing like an inspection of the slides, and only after that I actually record the video. But that's not the way I did right now, both in order to save time and just, I mean, I wanted like to be it's very, like, you know, like authentic. I mean, just like take 4 samples from the containers without. So we are going to watch the results right now. I mean, with me, we'll watch it in the first time. Maybe the results will be very disappointing. It happens. I mean, when you take samples, I mean, not every. I mean, you know, in science, not every every examination, every sample is like every experiment is a Nobel Prize breakthrough. But I mean, I still prefer that way. So again, I will be able to get back as quickly as possible to the history and politics series. So let's start. Maybe with this one, why not? Just a moment. Something is not right. Maybe the tray is not in the correct position, like the color tray. There is a color tray that I never use actually, like a back base. Yes, so it wasn't. Now we think it's yes, it's okay now. Okay. Okay, so now we are in business, as they say. Okay, first the initial result, we don't see like serious. We've seen life form, but not many, and no robots. Like, okay, where are they? Are they? I mean, do we have like a bad surprise? Did they die? Nice. Like, as I said, 64 magnification. Well, this is definitely a Nero, but it doesn't look well actually. Oh, there's a question, where are they? I mean, but maybe it was taken from a sample that, I mean, strata in like in this, that does not contain many, or so maybe they are close to the magnet. Let's watch the, I mean, all the sample. There are many interesting things. I mean, all sort of like, I mean, you see there's also, I mean, many circles, also life forms. This certainly looks like something like biological, but I don't know what it is. Interesting. So maybe this one is nice to, maybe we'll zoom in on this colorful one, like a creature. You see a tremendous amount of circles, but I'm not sure, I mean, they don't look like Neros, they look like circles, but not the typical like Neo, the robot like the typical shape that, I mean, we know so well. Looks like something different. What are these? So the lens is a little bit dirty, as you see, but I mean, it's still we know, I mean, what is like what is dirt and what's on the lens and what's like on the slide. These life forms are of course on the slide, and also this. And this is the end. No, it's not the end of the slide. It's just, I mean, a huge life form. Very interesting. This magnification is not 64 but 150. But still, it's a huge one. Let's get back to 64. Yeah, so this is a big one, but far from the biggest that we ever seen, of course, but a big one, nevertheless. More life forms. This one is of the sausage type, like a rabies or leprosy. Very interesting. Not sure what you see here. Okay, so we definitely see Neros now, the smaller ones, but I mean, very small amount. Like, I mean, this is a conundrum. I mean, where do they all go? Maybe I mean, the best case scenario is that they just inhabit like the magnet. Maybe they're stuck to the magnet or inside the metal itself, which means that they are still salvaged, that can be salvaged. But I mean, I must admit, it's not a terribly good news. Like, I mean, but yes, I mean, let's watch the other samples and see. I mean, if it's really that bad, or I mean, maybe it's just the sample is from a place that does not contain Neo because they don't like it that way. Okay. So interesting. As I said, a little bit disappointing, but okay. Let's continue. Let's continue. This was one. Now let's take another one. So what you see here is interesting because this is typical to see like a life form and the Neo, but the Neo looks like, it doesn't have like a correct, maybe that's how, they don't look that normal. They look very different than I used to. Mostly, they always look like, like empty, like a ring, but not with with this. That's how we normally they look like. But here, maybe all these circuits are actually news, but they don't look as usual. So They don't look as usual. Certainly, I mean, it reminds us of these like robots, but we can see again. I mean, so and they can be found in the vicinity of life forms in a way that, I mean, is very typical to the robots, but they don't look exactly as they're used to. I mean, so these circles. I mean, it's something happened. It's not. I mean, something is substantially different than all like the previous like videos that we've seen, and we've seen many. But something is different. This is a 150 magnification. That's, of course, this is a life form. So something is different for sure. I mean, we need to understand that. It's very good that, I mean, taking these are also Neros, many of them, but they look dead actually. They don't look good. They don't look well. And these are constructions of the Neros, what you see here. All of this stuff, this is constructions. These are constructions, but they don't look well. This is interesting. All sorts of things that look biological. These are constructions, not necessarily life forms. As we've said, I mean, they construct many things, and this was documented heavily, not only life forms. This is nice. Wow, very big one. Very big and elaborated life form. Very, very, very nice. Very nice. These are also definitely Neros, so now we see them, which is fine, which is better. I mean, these circles are Neros, which is good. So, I mean, they are not all died, but they are not, I mean, something was not, I did not maintain these containers as well as before, and this is, I mean, this is evident by what we see now. What you could do, I mean, I was concentrated in other stuff, but let's not be too pessimistic, but because for certain we can, I mean, this is salvageable, as they say, just with the correct treatment. These are ecosystems. By the way, several of these life forms are, I mean, the synthetic life forms are, I mean, they are, I mean, they are, you're acquainted with it, or I mean, they look familiar. Maybe you found it like in the Kinneret or in other like clear water reservoirs, like the clear water revival that is occurring on Earth. So yes, I mean, they are of the same origin of the robots, but no, it's not that they were contaminated by me or something. I couldn't have done it because what you see now is, of course, as a result of a contamination that happened years ago by the Israelis. And this is as a result, I don't know if they even understood what they are doing because they are so stupid, but this is due to the fact that they've taken, like, I mean, my semen from the garbage, like, I mean, after I pet the monkey, I mean, played with the one-eyed snake. So for years they're taking this thing from the garbage and they are doing all sorts of things, like they're creating all sorts of, like, I mean, concoctions, I don't know how to call it, like, I mean, mixtures with, in order to, for various reasons, and especially to to try to clean the bodies of the robots that are always disassembling, because I mean, several reasons, but one of the reasons is that they have sex with the wizards. The wizards, as you remember, are the females that that look like males. So so the robot like wizard having sex with the. Of course, I just called robot for as a joke. They are Venusians. The Venusian females are in Israel, at least, maybe other places, they are having sex with the Venusian females that look like males. The creature that they call the wizard. And since long ago, it is known that this creates mutations in various life forms, and there is maybe, I mean, there is a kind of a theory that I don't know if it's true, but maybe that this is actually what caused AIDS. And in any way, it is known that it contaminated the body of the Venusians in Israel. So they use the Neros. I don't know if they even know how it looks like in microscopic level, of what kind of theory they have regarding what they do. But for many years, they take it from the garbage and use it to clean the body of the Venusians. But this only created further problems. And what you see in the clear water reservoirs in the Middle East is a direct result of what Israelis have done for many years ago. I mean, it's evident now because it started the process was started many years ago. But if you're too worried about it, I'm not sure that you need to be, because probably all of you will die from the radiation long before this will have a very significant effect on you, on your health. So, chill. Okay, so this is just quick review. Let's quickly go over another one. I must admit that this is actually it's not the best way to watch my slides with this kind of camera, but that's what I can do right now. So that's what we will do. It's not that comfortable, but that's what we can do now. That's what I have now. This is this is what we can do. So that's what we will have to get whatever results we can from this method. So we see Neros there, definitely fat ones even, which is nice, but not very big one. But we see fat ones, which is nice. Okay, so the situation is not as bad as as maybe I was starting to suspect, but we don't see a tremendous amount, and this could have various reasoning. But again, it shouldn't be it doesn't meant to be an analysis video, but only an inspection, which is important, but mainly a quick expansion, not much more than that. Very nice. Very nice life forms. Very nice. Nice fat worm. This is definitely a Neo, maybe working on something. Very nice life form, very nice. So this is a construction of the Nero for certain. I don't know what it means to be. Next to a very big life form. But not huge, but very big. We see some robots here, that's interesting. So it's about that. Probably there is much to be seen here, but I mean, let's just take a quick view of the fourth one, and maybe we'll do analysis like later, or maybe we'll just continue with the political and historical series. Of course, I'm open to comments. I mean, I should be said that I've said many times before, starting the beginning of my research. I have no background in the life sciences. I've only studied like computer sciences in the Bachelor of Science level in the university. I'm completely. I understand that. Many people might watch these videos, and most certainly, many people can deduce amazing conclusions. And identify tremendous amount of things that I cannot identify because I have no background in the biology, in the life sciences. So, of course, with everything that regards to life sciences, I'm more than willing. I'm actually expecting to get advices and directions of what should be studied, because in order to understand what you actually see and watch under the microscope, you need the experience that I don't have. So, if anyone want to contribute to this kind of research, I'm incredibly. I encourage it incredibly. So this is the first one, right? Yes. This is the first one. So we see many Neros. These circles are force Neros. Also quite a bit of life forms and many Neros, which is great. So yes, so definitely many Neros. These are robots, the circles. Great, much more than we've seen in any of the previous three. This is even a nice one. We should zoom into it because it's a nice one. This is a nice one actually. Not the biggest, of course. We've seen much bigger than this one, but it's big and nice. And it's accompanied by an entourage of other ones. Maybe it's even a good idea to check at maximum magnification, or not maximum, but to use the high magnification lens that is very dirty, as we see. So we might not be able to observe anything. And anyway, it's difficult to observe things with this lens, because you need to work hard on the focus, and it's also dirty. The flow that you see is typical to slides that were just created. So in high magnification, you can see flows of the liquid, because the slide was just prepared right now. So there are still flows in the liquid, which is totally normal. But it's very dirty, this kind of the 40 objective lens. So let's get back to my 64 magnification. So we see many Neros. This is great. This is great. This is really great. That's why it's good, to take more than one sample. So you will have this is very nice fat Nero, even though not very big, but very fat. It should be said that they vary not only in size, but in proportion between the how the width of the ring and the radius. Or in other words, there are fat ones and thin ones, and big ones and small ones. And it should be said that they are you can always watch them in the same fixed orientation, even though of course it's a 3D environment, because I actually don't know why, and it's kind of like a conundrum, because you would expect to see them in all sorts of angles, you see red blood cells that you can see in all sorts of angles, like floating in the fluid. But the neos are always like in the same orientation, or almost the same orientation. And one theory is that because they are actually type 2 superconductors that are known to align themselves to a magnetic field. And this magnetic field could be either the magnetic field of the Earth or a magnetic field that is created by one of the components of the microscope, like the table, I don't know. Wow, very nice. So what do we see here? I don't know. So we see the neos, it's good, this is good. We see all the robots. We see all sorts of construction projects that are not probably related to synthetic life forms, but all sorts of other stuff. Not sure what it is, but it's interesting. It's interesting. This looks biological, but I don't know what it is. Nice. Okay, so I mean, actually, this is like the end of the slide. And so okay, I'm a little bit encouraged because we've seen quite a bit of neos. So it doesn't. There wasn't like an extinction event, but it should be. I mean, it should be investigated. I mean, what should they do better with these containers in order, I mean, to see more of them and more interaction with synthetic life forms. And again, I mean, it should be said that I mean I've taken these 4 samples from 3 containers, but I have many more. So I mean. It's far from being like exhaustive sampling of all the containers, but it was important to actually get the hang of like what's going on, and yes, it encourages me to to allocate more of my personal resources. Again, I'm doing it all pro bono, but I mean whatever. Just maybe speak a little less about politics and history, and like a little bit get back to science a little more. If not just for the reason of like I will be able to maintain the ecosystem that I've worked hard to actually create, so I will not lose it. Even though everything can be can be created from scratch, but it takes time, especially ecosystems. Now, what is left? I promise that I will take like 1 sample from these containers, but they're actually sealed with glue. So because it was part of the construction, so I need like to put more effort to actually open like one of them. Perhaps, as I said, I want to open the bigger one. So maybe I'll do it later, and maybe tomorrow, maybe not at all, and focus on history and science. There is a ton of things to be done. Most importantly, I should say, please move arms and legs. I live in a Nazi prison. I'm under torture by the Israelis all my life, and certainly, during the last couple of years, and it's only getting worse. You need to rescue me and my daughters from the Nazi prison. These are starships, they are real. It's not like a metaphor. It's also a metaphor for many things, like for the eye cornea and for the atom, the argon atom, like the noble gas atom. I mean, it's a metaphor for many things, but it's also a depiction of Titanomachy. I mean, the war between the Titans and the Olympic gods. and as you know, the Olympic gods are. I mean, they are many times they represent humans, like they represent you. So originally in the Titanomachy, the Olympic gods prevailed. That's why, I mean, you control the earth. But it was just a one battle. It wasn't the complete war. So, but I mean, maybe you have a chance now. I mean, like to redo your famous victory from the Greek representation of the Titanomachy. But maybe, I mean, it's best not to like try your luck and just move arms and legs to rescue us from this hell. These are real things. It's not a metaphor. I mean, it's also a metaphor, but it's also like it's real. This is Earth. These are starships. Rescue me and my daughters from the Nazi hell that is called the State of Israel. This should be done using arms and legs, not mouses and tongues. Arms and legs.